So for this video, I was originally going to wear a white vest to try and make myself look a tiny bit like Freddie Mercury. However, I ended up looking like Rabsy Nesbitt, so I sort of skipped that one. But that's me trying to impersonate Freddie Mercury. How did Rami Malek get on? Well, let's find out. I'm Berryman, and this is 10 Things Wrong With. Bohemian Rhapsody is a 2018 biographical musical drama film. The film shows the story of Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of the British rock band Queen. It tells their story from the formation of the band in 1970 up until their 1985 Live Aid performance at the original Wembley Stadium. When the film was released, it received praise for its musical sequences and Rami Malek's performances. However, it doesn't mean that the film was perfect. In fact, there is actually quite a bit wrong with the film. Want to know what I mean? Well, let's find out. This is 10 Things Wrong with Bohemian Rhapsody. Number 10, director. Bryan Singer is a director with a very awesome career, except this film is going to be a blemish on his career going forward, because he was fired. Now, he was fired due to frequently being late, clashing with the cast and crew, and then just generally disappearing. Now, apparently he disappeared due to a family emergency, but that was never actually confirmed. So, yeah, he was fired. Dexter Fletcher was brought on board to actually complete the film. Now, due to union rules, let's face it, you can only actually have one director on a live action film. So Bryan Singer kept his directing credit as per their rules. However, he was stripped of everything else. Dexter, he received an executive producer credit on this film, but most of it, because he finished it off, he didn't get much credit for it. And it's not his fault, it's not the film's fault, you can blame the union, but it's a bit of a blemish on this film. Number 9, Flash. So, as I said in the intro, this film tells the story of Queen from 1970 to 1985. Now, strange enough, one of my personal first experiences of Queen was from Flash Gordon. What an amazing film that was. Made all the better by the soundtrack done by, you guessed it, Queen. So how does this film portray that? It doesn't. Which is, I find really annoying, because let's face it, film soundtracks are not an easy thing to do, and they pulled it off. But what makes it even more annoying is they have done another film which came out in 1986 with Who Wants to Live Forever. Now, that song was shown in this film, yet that came out after this film ended. You put the wrong film in this film. And I found it a bit annoying because I love Flash. Number 8, diagnosis. We all know that Freddie Mercury passed away in 1991 thanks to pneumonia caused by his AIDS. Now, he didn't find out. Now, it's a bit of a discrepancy. It's either 1986, 1987. Jim Hutton, his partner, said it was 1987. The band themselves found out in 1989, pretty much the same way that this film portrayed, but it was not before Live Aid. It was well after, before Freddie found out about it. Number 7, we were on a break. No, they weren't. Seriously, this film shows Queen breaking up because Freddie wanted to try going out on his own for a bit. And that's what broke the band up. No, Queen have never actually broken up. And they definitely wouldn't have broken up because Freddie wanted to try something on his own. In fact, the band would have been supportive. I mean, Brian May had already done a couple of albums. Roger Taylor, same again, had done a couple of albums. Well, hell, he had one before Queen came along. So I don't quite get why the film tried to add this drama when it wasn't a fact. It didn't tally up, and it made everything wrong, because a year before Live Aid, they released an album and they had a tour. In fact, they stopped touring 8 weeks before Live Aid. So it wasn't like, oh, we haven't performed together in 2 years. Yes, you had. So this break actually puts too many questions of creative liberties, really. Number 6, Queen at Live Aid. So this film makes it look like that Queen were a last-minute addition to Live Aid, which was further from the truth, because bizarrely enough, Queen were actually announced for Live Aid first, before even Queen knew about Live Aid. In fact, that's how Bob Geldof got Queen on board. Now, Queen and Bob Geldof had a bit of a history, because Queen performed in countries that were musically unacceptable due to their governmental regimes. But Queen performed there, Bob Geldof didn't like that, they didn't talk. So Bob Geldof blackmailed Queen by publicly saying Queen were going to be at Live Aid when Queen didn't even know about it. And just to save face, because of what Live Aid was showing, or trying to promote, Queen decided to go along with it, but they weren't very happy with the way they were involved with it, because they probably would have done it if he had asked. Number 5, outing. The whole portrayal of Paul Prenter is up for discussion. It's no secret that Roger Taylor and Brian May did not like him. They thought he was a bad influence on Freddie. They did not like it. However, there's a lot of things that they say that Paul was actually pretty good. He wasn't as much of a freeloader as this film portrayed. And one of the biggest things it was outing Freddie. Now, this film shows it on a live TV interview before Live Aid, a few years before Live Aid. That's not exactly what happened. It happened in 1987 in The Sun newspaper. Yeah, The Sun, who always gets all these controversials, it was published in there. So what this film's doing is putting everything that happened after Live Aid, before Live Aid. Why could they just not follow it on? Why stop at Live Aid? Carry on, or make a two-parter. I don't know, if everything interesting happens after Live Aid, why not do another film? Number 4, before Queen. So, as Queen are about to go on stage to perform their legendary performance, you see a band coming off the stage. And that band is shown to be U2. But that's not what happened. It was actually Dire Straits that performed before Queen, not U2. So you put the wrong band. I mean, I know U2 are a bigger band than Dire Straits, but come on, a little bit of accuracy, please. Number 3, sound. A sound engineer's job is probably one of the hardest jobs to do, even in live performances or even videos, because this sound is one of the things I struggle most with my videos. I know how hard it is. But a sound engineer at a concert, one of his primary jobs is to make sure it sounds good for the crowd. It's impossible to do that if you're wearing a headset and you can't hear what the audience hears. That's why the booth is always smack in the middle to make sure the sound levels are right. They do wear headsets, but they always leave one ear open to make sure they can hear properly. They wouldn't have both ears covered. Doesn't make sense. They can't do their jobs if they can't hear their jobs. Number 2, where's Bob? So, Live Aid is actually shown twice in this film. It's shown at the very beginning and at the end of the film. But there is a discrepancy, because at the beginning of the film, there's a clip where the Prince and Princess of Wales arrive at Wembley Stadium with Bob Geldof. So that's at the beginning Live Aid. Now at the end Live Aid, Bob Geldof is not at Wembley. He's at the BT Tower, which is on the other side of London if you don't know, trying to take phone calls. How did he do that? Did he have a doppelganger? Was there a fake Bob Geldof at Wembley? Or is Bob Geldof magical? I mean, let's face it, he does look a bit like a wizard. But yeah, Bob Geldof cannot be in 2 places at once when you think about it. Bit of an error there. Number 1, Live Aid. So I've left that legendary performance to last, because let's face it, they have done an amazing job. There are side-by-side videos on YouTube of the real performance and the film performance. They are amazing. They've done a brilliant job of capturing it perfectly. The only thing I wish they had done in this film. Now, this is a little bit more nitpicky, but I wish they'd actually shown proper clips from the concert. Just to emphasize how awesome that concert would be. I am jealous of people older than me that got a chance to see this, because as a kid, I've seen this performance, and let's face it, Queen stole that show. As much as they've done a good job, fantastic job of recreating that, I'd have loved to have seen just some clips just like slotted in. Hell, put the real screens Have the real screens that were there at Wembley showing the real concert with Rami Malek on the stage and the real concert on the screens. That would have been brilliant. Just to add something to it, because you can't recapture that. As much as you've done, and you've done a brilliant job, it's just something quite off. Well, that's what I think. Final thoughts. So yeah, what do I think of this film? Well, yeah, this film is not without its flaws. There's a lot of errors in this film. I mean, I could probably make a top 20 things wrong with this film, and it's all historical errors. But when you take that out of it, there's nothing really much wrong with this film. Its acting was brilliant. Its casting was phenomenal. Hell, the person they got to play Freddie Mercury's dad looks like Freddie Mercury. Rami Malek, was he in this film? Because I'm pretty sure I kept seeing Freddie Mercury. Brian May, Roger Taylor, I don't see the actors. I see the real life people. And that is an impressive thing to do if you're an actor. When you can't see the actor, you see the person they're playing. And especially even more when it's a real person. That was brilliant. The soundtrack, well, it was Queen's soundtrack also, it's going to be awesome. But the way they incorporated that music in the film with the film score, awesome. Hell, I even like the fact that they actually had the original Queen playing 20th Century Fox's riff at the beginning of the film. There was so much good. Technically, this film is a masterpiece. Literally, it can't have been easy filming that Live Aid, getting it spot on perfect, and they did. It was near enough. There are literally minute flaws. You can't fault them for that. They're copying someone else's performance. There is so much good, so much thought and feelings gone into it to make sure it was the best it can be, and it showed. And I love films like that. Now, watching this film, did I learn anything new about Freddie Mercury? No, I didn't. That being said, it didn't stop me enjoying this film. I actually sat and watched this film with my family. I watched it with my girlfriend and her daughter. My girlfriend started talking, and my 13-year-old stepdaughter was telling us off because we're disturbing her. That shows how good this film is when a teenager is into this film. So kudos to that. So what am I going to rank it? I'm going to get shot if I didn't do this. 10. 10 out of 10 berries. As I said, the only things wrong with this film, which is a major thing, is the historical accuracies. But that doesn't take away from what this is, which is an enjoyable, educational movie that hooks you from start to finish. I can't say any more praise about this film. So I'm hoping that praise follows on to next week, because the reviews have been really good. But let's find out what I do when I take to the skies with a sequel of a film that I've just done a few weeks ago. Want to know what I mean? Well, come back next week to find out what I mean. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.